Well, good morning. Welcome to the latest part of the dumpster score. Today we're going to take a look at this. This is a DSO 8104A scope. It's a 8000 series Infinium scope. It is not quite as good a spec as my 54 845A in terms of the sample rate and bandwidth. But it's definitely going to be a more modern scope in terms of the operating system and features. Not by a lot, because it's still very similar, but it should be. Now, this doesn't turn on. So I've got it plugged in right now. So if we just push the little soft power button here and sort of go around, it doesn't turn on. So it's there's either something wrong with the power supply, or there's something wrong with motherboard. So I've already taken the covers off it because there are about 8 million screws to get the covers off. So now that we've got the covers off, we can take a look at it. And the service manual is available. You can see that we have a set of probe points here for the voltages and what the voltage ranges are. So we can take a look at that and see what we get. Now, interestingly, if we, and let me move the drink of choice today, it's some grapefruit soda again. Let me see if I can move this around a bit. And no, you can't really see it. Interesting, you might be able to catch it right in there under that cable, but there is a little LED that's lit up on the motherboard. Now, this is an 80-link M880 Nitro, and I cannot find anywhere any manual on the board. Apparently, this is a custom board, from what I've read on the interwebs, saying that it was built specifically for this task. Oh, not for this particular DSO, but for the task of embedding in devices. It has an LVDS LED display driver directly on the board, apparently. Anyway, I don't know why that light's on, but it does come on when you plug the power supply in. So let's flip the unit over. And here you can see the bottom of the unit. Now, let me find my little pointy stick. If you remember the little graphic paper I showed, those test points are down here. And we can go in and check and see what they are. Now, the thing it doesn't tell me is where to take ground from. So I'm assuming that I can take it from the chassis. And if I look at a lot of these black wires, and I'm hoping that black means that they're all ground wires that are coming in, if I turn my little meter on and hook onto I can hook with this onto the chassis, then I can see that, let me turn the light on. I can see that they're all connected supposedly to the chassis. So I should just be able to pick up off there and measure the power supply on those test points. So let's drop that in. And I'm assuming that now that we've got that, we can go in, and because we're plugged in, so we have power, if we take a look at let me see if I can find that first test point, which will be over here. This is like a 12-volt test point. If I go in and I come in there, you'll see that I'm not getting any power at all coming out on those test points. So, I can come in and look at the plus 12. I'm getting a little bit of power there. Nothing there. Let's just go and see if there's like anything coming through in terms of AC or so on. So yeah, I'm not really getting any power there at all. So, you know, I think the power supply might not be starting up properly. Now, I don't like playing around with switch mode power supplies. In fact, I've never really been a power supply fan. Going back to the days when I destroyed multi-$100 thermistors in motor controllers back at university. Anyway, what I did is I bought a replacement Vega. So let's just unplug the power supply here, flip it back over, and we'll just take a quick look at the actual power supply itself. So this power supply here is a Vega 450 by TDK Lambda. And its sort of claim to fame, the whole Vega series, I think's claim to fame is that they have one consistent primary side, and then you can configure the secondaries to the appropriate voltages that you want. So what I'm going to do now is take this out, and I have a supposedly working replacement. And so what I can do is take this out and swap in the secondaries and see if that fixes the issue. So let us do that. I have a set of instructions here on how to take the power supply out. So what I'm going to go do is just do that, take it out, follow these instructions, and then we'll come back in a moment. Okay, well there we have the power supply out, and you can see the individual modules here. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to just take this out. Okay, so there we have our power supply. So I think I can just take that top cover off by undoing those two screws. Okay, and there we go. So here you can see the structure of the system. It is a, we'll have to deal with that. The primary side here, these are the configurable secondaries. I have never taken one of these apart, so I'm unclear exactly of how this stuff works, but it looks like we can take the screws out of the bottom, and then the top will come apart maybe. Okay, so let's take a look. I think it's a little bit more complex than that. Let me go do some research and then I will come back. Okay, well, so the implication is that I should be able to unscrew this board and then just slide it straight out. All right, let's give that a try. Okay. Okay, well, there we go. We've got the secondaries and primaries apart. So what I'm going to go do now is pretty much do the reverse on the second supply. So let's we'll come back to that, and I'll see you in a little bit. Well, it's the next day or so, and I have the units back together. I made a mistake and didn't use the right bottom that had the clip on it, so if this works out, we'll have to swap those things out again. Anyway, what needed to be done was to swap out the individual components here, then swap the front here where you can see the terminals versus the spade lugs that are on the other one. Then swap the fan units over so that the right fan unit was corrected. And then what I think is the filter board and the supplemental supply board, which is right here, so that this part of the actual supply description sort of matched. So if you look at the one, this is the replacement one I got. It has a different set of fans. It has a different filter option, and it only has a 500, I think, or a 100 milliamp 5-volt supply, whereas on this one it has a different type of fan, whatever the S-type filter option is, and then it has a 5-volt 1 amp auxiliary supply. And so I think all of that is set up correctly and should work. I'm hoping there's no other fundamental differences. There were no removable parts on the primary side. So I think that if these things are truly configurable, like I've read on the internet, then this is probably custom for certain usage, and then the rest of the filter boards and the supplies should all be different. So I'm hoping that that will fix it. So we'll get that back in the unit. I'm not really confident this will work. The reason being is that LED that we saw on the motherboard, which indicated the motherboard was getting some form of power. So we'll put this in, we'll give it a try, and then if that doesn't work, then we'll just have to start from first principles. Let's remove the motherboard, we'll run that up, we'll see if that works. Then we'll have to track through all the bits and pieces until we find the right thing to try and get it running. Anyway, with that, let's put this together. Okay. So let's just push that back in under there for a moment. Okay, here we have it. It's all connected back up. I believe I have everything correct. So let's start with some power and see if anything blows up. I heard a click. The LED is on there. And there you go. Well, what do you know? That was it was in fact the power supply. And so now you should see the unit boot up, running Windows XP. Okay, well, I'm going to have a little drink. Its drink of the day is some soda water from my soda stream. I tried their cocktail mixer things, not a huge fan. I tried their juice bubble tea, not a huge fan. I usually just have it as straight liquid, or I put a little Diet Coke in, or maybe some home-style lemonade. Anyway. Oh, we hear the clicking. There we go. Okay, let me just grab a quick cable, and we'll turn on my signal generator, and we'll just throw a 1 meg signal through and see what happens. Okay, set the frequency is going to be 1 megahertz. The amplitude is going to be let's say 5 volt peak to peak, yep. And then let's set the channel set, output set, and we'll set it to 50 ohms. Okay, let's turn that puppy on. Okay, so now let's get the, oh, I can never get these things off. There we go. Let's drop in. Oh, look at that. Let's go auto. I don't know why it turned channel 2 on, but nice. Let's take all these little channel covers off. Oh, bugger. Go on. Okay. Let's take another one off. Let's take this off. Okay. Okay, so let's drop it to channel 2. Yep. Let's drop it to channel 3. Yep. And let's drop it to channel 4. Okay. Well, that seemed to all work. So I'm going to declare that a quick victory. And then what we'll do is we'll get it all sealed back up. And then take it for a little run, see how it goes. Be right back. Here's an example of if possible, from an industrial design perspective, either use the same screws. You can see here that I've got, there are 4 screws left on the side panel here, and these 2 screws are different sizes, but they're the same thread. So clearly I have mixed up a screw at some point when I've reassembled it. But if you can use the same size screws all the way through, you'll make things a lot easier. Okay, let's plug it in. No. Okay, so it's all back, all the covers back on. It drives in. You can still hear the little clicking. I'm going to have to take it apart again and look at the power supply, because there's clearly something that I haven't secured. Probably in the way the primary and the secondary connect are a bunch of little flat coils that go back, side by side. I may not have that clicked in enough. It may not be. There may be some vibration as current draws on it or something. I don't know. So, but we can see that it's up and running. And I think, of course, there's unused icons on the desktop. I don't think these are touch screens. Oh no, no they are, okay. My 54 845A doesn't. And in fact, its enclosure for the rack comes with a little slide that slides out that has a touchpad on it. Okay. Okay. I think, we're able to sort of declare that as mostly working. So what I'll do is move this off the bench now, and we can get started on the next item in the dumpster score. Anyway, I hope you found some of that interesting, and I'll look forward to seeing you either in the comments or during the next video. Anyway, thank you very much. Bye.